The entire Nollywood community is grappling with an overwhelming sense of grief and disbelief following the sudden and tragic deaths of two promising talents. Evans, a gifted young actor, and Nunu, a skilled director of photography, DOP. What began as a moment of celebration after a successful shoot quickly turned into one of the darkest nights in the industry's recent memory. The incident, which took place in Owerri, Imo State, has left both the crew and fans across Nigeria stunned and heartbroken. Nollywood filmmaker Stanley on Top was among the first to report the devastating news, painting a painful picture of how two bright lives were cut short under the most unexpected and heartbreaking circumstances. The day had begun like many others on a film set, filled with passion, energy, and creativity. Evans, known for his dedication and an on-screen presence, had given his all during the shoot. Nunu, behind the camera, had worked tirelessly to bring the director's vision to life. The entire cast and crew, energized by the synergy they shared, were proud of what they had accomplished that day. As the final scenes wrapped, a sense of accomplishment filled the air. The producer, pleased with the crew's performance and in high spirit, decided to treat the team to drinks, a gesture of appreciation that would soon turn tragic. According to eyewitnesses and crew members who spoke anonymously, the producer brought out bottles of Calypso, a tropical coconut-flavored liquor. It was meant to be a reward, a simple celebration of a job well done. The bottles were passed around and laughter filled the room as the team toasted to their success. But a few hours after the celebratory drinks were consumed, the atmosphere shifted drastically. At first, it seemed like an ordinary case of someone reacting poorly to alcohol. 4 members of the crew, including Evans and Nunu, began showing unusual symptoms. They started to vomit uncontrollably. The laughter from earlier had disappeared, replaced by groans of pain and confusion. The symptoms intensified. Nausea, dizziness, unbearable stomach cramps, and panic began to spread across the set. Those around them initially thought it was just a case of bad food or mild alcohol poisoning. Some attempted to administer their first aid using what little knowledge they had: water, rest, and reassurance. But they didn't know what they were dealing with. It wasn't just food poisoning, this was something far worse, something deadly. The situation spiraled out of control. Evans and Nunu were already on the ground, their bodies convulsing, barely able to speak or respond. The remaining 2 crew members who had also consumed the drinks began showing similar signs, their conditions deteriorating fast. It was clear at this point that the symptoms were not just a reaction, they were signs of a medical emergency. But in a chaotic and panic environment, the urgency wasn't fully understood until it was too late. With no ambulance on standby and no immediate transportation, precious time slipped away. Crew members ran frantically looking for help, trying to find a vehicle to transport the affected to the Federal Medical Center in Owerri. When a vehicle was finally secured, the 4 of them were rushed to the hospital, but by the time they arrived at FMC, the worst had already happened. Evans and Nunu were pronounced dead on arrival. The other 2, still fighting for their lives, were immediately placed on oxygen. As of the last update, they remain in critical condition, their fate uncertain as doctors work around the clock to save them. The circumstances surrounding the incident have sparked outrage and a demand for answers. Where did the drinks come from? Were they expired or contaminated? Why was Calypso, a drink that the federal government has already reportedly banned, being consumed on set? There are reports that Calypso, once popular among younger drinkers for its affordability, have been under scrutiny due to concerns about its safety. If that's the case, then how did it find its way into the hands of a film crew? Who sold the drink to the producer? Was it bought in ignorance, or was someone deliberately cutting corners? And most importantly, could this tragedy have been avoided? The Imo State Police Command has since launched a full investigation into the death. An autopsy will be conducted to determine the exact cause of death. For now, all fingers are pointing towards the drink, and many are hoping that the investigation will uncover the truth and ensure that those responsible are held accountable. Evans, known for his versatility and rise in stardom, had only just begun his journey in the industry. Nunu, admired for his technical expertise and artistic eye, was considered one of the most promising DOPs in the industry's new generation. The suddenness of their deaths left many reeling. Beyond the grief, this tragedy has reignited an urgent conversation about safety on Nollywood sets. The industry, though filled with passionate talents, often operates on tight budget and under immense pressure to deliver quickly. In such environments, safety protocols are sometimes overlooked. Whether it's about medical readiness on set, food and drink safety, or even basic emergency response planning, the tragedy also highlights the need for stricter enforcement of food and beverage safety laws, especially in an informal environments like film locations where regulations are rarely monitored. Even more heartbreaking is the fact that this tragedy occurred just days after Nollywood marked the one-year remembrance of actor Junior Pope's untimely death. The beloved actor lost his life alongside 4 others in a boat accident that occurred while returning from a film location. The details of Junior Pope's death were equally harrowing: a late-night boat ride, no life jackets, no proper lighting, and a boat allegedly overloaded. Eyewitnesses later revealed that negligence and lack of safety protocols contributed heavily to the disaster. The river that swallowed Junior Pope also drowned the hopes of our family, fans, and the film industry that keeps paying too high a price for carelessness. Now, barely a week after remembering him, Nollywood is once again mourning, not from natural causes, not from old age or terminal illness, but from what seems to be yet another case of negligence, oversight, and poor planning. As Evans and Nunu are laid to rest, the grief remains raw. The film they were working on may never be completed. What they gave to Nollywood, though, cannot be forgotten. Evans, with his boyish charm and magnetic screen presence, was destined for greatness. His roles in recent indie projects had already won him a loyal fan base. He wasn't just acting. One producer said he was living every role. You couldn't take your eyes off him. Nunu, the man behind the camera, was the kind of DOP every director prayed for. He didn't speak much, but when he picked up the camera, magic happened. He could tell a story without dialogue. His colleagues shared. That's rare. Their families have been thrown into mourning and their loved ones are still in disbelief. Condolences have poured in from across the country, from celebrities, politicians, and fans who never got to meet them but felt their lights on screen. As the industry tries to come to terms with their immense loss, there is a growing call for Nollywood to do better, to honor Evans and Nunu not just with tears, but with action. Some stakeholders are pushing for a Nollywood safety task force to be formed, one that will ensure every set has basic medical support, emergency transportation plans, and regulated catering. Others are demanding that the producers and distributors of illegal or expired drinks like Calypso be brought to justice, and that education campaigns be launched within the industry to prevent similar tragedies. Because Evans and Nunu should not have died, not like this, not on a night that was supposed to celebrate their art and their hard work. They deserve to go home proud, not be carried lifeless into the night. As the sun sets on this painful chapter, Nollywood bows its head to mourn, not just the loss of 2 souls, but the dreams, the possibilities, and the brilliance they carried with them. Evans and Nunu, your time was short, but your impact was immense. May your souls find peace, and may your deaths never be in vain.